If you're waking up a majority of your mornings regretting the decisions that you made from the previous night of drinking, that's a sign to slow down on alcohol consumption. If you feel anxious or like you don't fit in until you start drinking, that's a sign as well. Another one is if your relationships aren't consistent and they don't feel sustainable or genuine. If you have feelings of depression or you're losing pride in yourself, that's another sign. If you constantly feel stressed about your financial situation and it doesn't feel like you can get ahead. If you're not pursuing a closer relationship with God daily. Also, if you're continuously setting goals and continuously failing to achieve those goals, that's a sign you need to stop drinking so much. I'm saying all these because these are signs I was getting. These are signs I've been getting for probably 2 years now because my drinking just got out of hand and it kept going and going and getting worse and worse. And I saw the signs, I noticed them, but I didn't make the decision to try to stop drinking. And that's why I kept failing to achieve my goals. Now I'm going to go into more detail about why alcohol is holding you back from accomplishing your goals. First of all, it makes you feel okay with not being productive. If you're drinking and having fun, it doesn't feel like such a burden to have a bad life, and you can just sit there and be okay with not doing anything. It's an easy way to run from your problems when things get tough, and things always get tough when you're working towards success. Alcohol fogs your mind, weakens your decision-making abilities, and it misleads you. Sometimes whenever I would be drinking, I would be sitting there like, oh, things are going good, because I got so hyper-focused on one thing that truly wasn't even that beneficial to my life. But I was drunk, and I was telling myself, wow, you're doing great. That's how it's misleading. Not to mention, you're spending money on alcohol that you could be investing towards your goals. Living a life where you drink a lot also surrounds yourself with people with low ambitions that are also running from their problems. Last but not least, it's not a good habit in God's eyes, and it withholds you from your blessings that He would be giving you that would serve you for eternity. Sometimes God allows you to fall into that hole because He knows the purpose of your life is to make a difference for others. That's how I feel about my situation. I fell so deep into a hole of drinking and running from my problems that my blessings were non-existent. And looking back at it, that's exactly how it should be. I feel like I have high ambitions and I kept setting these big goals that I was telling myself I could achieve. And alcohol was holding me back from achieving those goals. I kept getting drunk and putting off the work that I needed to do in order to be successful in the way that I wanted to be. So that brings me to how I successfully stopped drinking for 2 months. God has been my #1 supporter in this journey. The things that have helped me the most is reading my Bible every single day, pursuing a closer relationship with God, then also meditating and praying on the words that I read and the lessons I was learning through the knowledge I was gaining of Christ. I woke up every single morning and I thank God for giving me the trials and tribulations that were building my character in this life. You have to thank Him in the deepest depths of your life, the most depressing, anxiety-ridden parts. You have to thank Him for those trials to overcome them and become a better person in the process. I also, in the beginning, pretty much completely isolated myself from places and people that were partaking in drinking. I'm not saying to never hang out with your friends while they're drinking. I'm just saying it's really hard not to fall back into it when everyone around you is drinking, especially at the beginning. I feel like after my first month of no alcohol, I had a much stronger will and could resist the temptations to drink whenever people around me were drinking alcohol. Another thing that helped me overcome my drinking habit was documenting everything. Documenting my successes and my failures. Once I made the decision to stop drinking, I told all of my friends and family, and it held me accountable and it made me feel embarrassed whenever I failed. That's necessary to overcoming your bad habit of drinking. Another thing I meditated on was all of the negative effects it was having on my physical and mental health. On top of that, I watched videos online of the negative effects of alcohol and the positive effects of quitting drinking. The more I learned, every time I drank after that just felt worse and worse, and I knew what I was putting myself through. And lastly, and most importantly, is I tried and tried and tried again every single time I failed. I didn't give up and completely fall back into the habit of drinking like I was. I was drinking a lot, but I kept my faith that it was possible to overcome, and I didn't stop trying. And now I'm at 61 days with no alcohol. So now the good part, the benefits I've noticed from 60 days of no alcohol. I have so much more energy, focus, and self-improvement in every single area in life. I also have way less anxiety and depression and doubt in myself. I'm a better person to my loved ones. I'm a better son to my parents. I'm a better dad to my daughter. I'm a better brother to my sisters. I'm just better to the people I love, and it makes me so happy. I've also felt like along this journey I've become a positive influence to anyone looking up to me. Through all this, I've gained tremendous pride in myself, and that's pride that I didn't have whenever I was drinking the way I was. It gave me faith of overcoming any possible issue I could face in this life. I've also gotten closer to God than I've ever been in my entire life through this process, and that resulted in a peace that I never knew was even possible. I feel like I have blessings raining in from every area of life. I just got word from the local newspaper that they want to do a story on my journey because the head of the newspaper saw one of these videos and talked to my grandpa. It makes me so happy to be able to share my story and maybe even make a difference in somebody's life from reading it. I also actually have money saved for the first time in my adult years. I've been blessed with a family that got me out of any financial hole I was ever in. But that caused me to be a 25-year-old with no money to my name and not knowing how to handle money. Once I stopped drinking, I realized how big of a problem alcohol was for my financial situation. Since I've quit alcohol, I've been checking goals off consistently. I haven't been failing like I'm used to doing. Like I mentioned earlier, it's good to document your process and all of your failures and your successes. That's one of the reasons I make these videos, is to document my process throughout this all for myself to look back on and realize where I'm failing and succeeding. So now I'm going to tell you about other habits that I think you should consider quitting, as well as the 120-day challenge that I've put on myself to overcome my bad habits and replace them with good ones. I started a challenge whenever I first stopped drinking, and it's 120 days of becoming a completely different person. My main goal of the 120-day challenge is at least 30 days of no vaping, no smoking marijuana, no drinking, no porn, and no excessive sugar. I started this back on May 29th, which was the first day I stopped drinking and stopped watching porn. So that means I've done 61 days successfully of no drinking alcohol and no watching porn. I made the plan to cut my bad habits out 1 or 2 at a time instead of overwhelming myself with all of them from the beginning. So I've got the 61 days of no alcohol and porn. Today marks 6 days of no weed and excessive sugar, but I am struggling with vaping and nicotine. I'm still doing that right now, but I do have 4 of the bad habits cut out for almost a week now on the weed and excessive sugar, and over 2 months for the alcohol and porn. Basically, the idea of the 120-day challenge is starting August 26th. I will have 30 days to do none of these and replace them with good habits. The good habits include working out 5 days a week, meditating 20 minutes daily, reading my Bible 20 minutes daily, and eating healthy 5 days a week. I've actually been doing really good at reading my Bible and meditating every day, but the eating healthy and working out hasn't been going so hot. I do ride my bike to work every day, so I guess that could be considered working out. But whenever I say working out, I more so mean lifting weights because I have been doing push-ups. I just haven't been being very consistent with it, as well as running. I need to be a lot more consistent with both. And eventually I want to get a gym membership and start going to the gym 5 days a week. That's kind of what I mean in this challenge. I feel like the eating healthy is going to be a hard one for me because I'm not much of a cook and I don't really like spending too much time on cooking because I always want to be working and being productive in my business. But I do know it's a very important step to a happy and healthy life. Another part of the challenge is I wanted to get $1,000 in my savings, and the last video I made I had 8. And right now I have 120. So I know I said I have some savings built up, and I know that's a very, very minuscule amount of money, but it's really good for me, and it's a great start to getting that $1,000 saved up by September 26th, which is the end of this challenge. The last part of my challenge is to complete my hearing to get my license back before that day. I'm actually going this Thursday. I went and got all of my Kansas legal issues taken care of, and then I came back and went to the counselor and I got my new evaluation, and I'm ready for my hearing. This is what I mean by I'm checking off goals ever since I stopped drinking alcohol. I had these goals since the beginning of this year, and it's now the end of July. It's almost the 8th month of the year. It took me that long to accomplish them, to even get them started, because I was drinking so much and I was just running from my problems. That sun is bright. Goodness. So now that I've documented my 120-day challenge of overcoming bad habits for myself and for you guys to follow along with the journey, I'm going to tell you the hardest part of overcoming bad habits. First of all, it's not very fun. I mean, I will say it was fun to go out and to drink, and it was fun for that moment. It was fun for that one moment. It wasn't fun when I woke up the next day, but it was an easy way to put my problems back and have fun in the moment. Now that I'm trying to overcome my bad habits, it's kind of lonely. It's also very common to fail a lot, and sometimes it feels impossible, and it can affect your pride in yourself. The first week, followed by the first month, are the two hardest time frames to overcome your bad habits. That first week feels like hell. The first month feels like it takes forever. But after that, it gets so much easier, and the benefits are incomprehensible whenever you're stuck in that pattern. Overcoming drinking has truly changed my life. I've improved in every single area of life I've been trying to improve in, and I've been failing because of my bad habits. I really appreciate you guys for tuning in. I hope this video helped. Let me know if there's anything I can do to make these videos more helpful for you, or if you want to reach out and talk about it. If you're struggling to overcome your bad habits, feel free to reach out. Thank you guys.